Phrolova has been revealed. My name is Juice, and let's get into it. So here we finally have it. Phrolova's drip marketing. We've known about this unit for a very, very long time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe we've known about her since basically the start of Wuthering Waves. So it's actually pretty interesting to finally have this character's drip marketing. I'm sure there's been some people who have been saving for a very long time for her. I'm trying to think back to all of the past character releases that we've had, and I think this is the first time that we're going to get a playable villain. Now, I don't believe she's still a villain, I still need to do the new Septimont story, but as far as I'm concerned, she's been a villain for quite a while, or at least on the opposing side, so it's interesting to get a playable character like that. This actually reminds me of back in the day when in 1.0, I actually thought that Camellia was evil. I don't know why, I just assumed that she was in the same group as Phrolova and Scar, because they had a similar color scheme. They were all black, red, and white. So I assumed that Camellia was a villain, which obviously that wasn't true, she's a member of the Black Shores, but I don't know, I believed that for a really long time. Even when her trailers came out and stuff and I saw her attacking people, I was like, oh, so Camellia's a villain. But no, she's not. So this is technically our first playable evil person. Now, the drip marketing itself, just from an artistic standpoint, wow. There is a lot going on here, and it looks really, really cool. I love all the instruments that are scattered everywhere, and all the organs in the back, because you can really tell that she's a conductor. You can see that connection to conducting. It's really interesting. And I assume that that stick she's holding is her conductor stick. So it's all around very, very interesting in terms of the symbolism. The coloring is absolutely dashing, and all around, it looks very visually appealing. I think, as it currently stands, we don't have even the foggiest idea as to what she's actually going to do kit-wise. Like, we really have nothing on this character at the minute. Some guesses I've seen from people is that she's going to have something to do with echo manipulation, because that's related to her abilities in the story, which, yeah, I can see that being plausible. I'm personally curious if she's going to have anything to do with summons, if she's going to summon anything by her side because she's a conductor and have other things attack for her. I'm not particularly sure. In terms of element, I mean, look at all of the red that's on our screen. My guess is probably Havoc or Fusion, one of the two. I have a very hard time that they're not going to be going for red or purplish numbers with this type of character design. Granted, I could be incredibly wrong. They don't really choose elements based on character design color correlation, but I do think that it's likely. Think about it like this. They've made so many Spectral characters these past few months. I really don't think they're gonna want to make more Spectral characters, at least not for the foreseeable future. My personal expectation is that they are going to wait a hot minute before making another one, and if they do make another one, it's either going to be an improvement to Spectral Frazzle, or it's going to be something else entirely. So I assume that that's going to be put on the back burner for a while. Arrow, we just got Cardathea. I highly doubt it. Now we are getting Lupa coming up, and she's going to be a fusion support. If you want more details, you can actually go in-game and go to the Crossing Stars menu, where you're able to read all of Lupa's kit details, and you're able to see her level 1 scalings. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're able to do that now. But since she's coming out right after Lupa, we could assume that they might be able to work in a team together. I'm not particularly sure. And it wouldn't be the first time that Kuro Games has released a 5-star that wants another 5-star so closely within one another. For example, the recent case of Shakona and Cardathea. Now, usually, they like to rerun 5-stars when it is their time to shine. Like, for example, Shangli, Yao, and Yinlin. That's a pretty clear example. And we should consider that Lupa is most likely going to fit in very well with Triple Fusion. If not just individually being a good teammate for Brant Wuthering Waves or Changli. So with that being said, consider the one character that doesn't actually have a dedicated best-in-slot teammate yet. That would be Cantarella. She didn't really release that long ago. She came out in 2.2 and we're gonna be heading into 2.5 when it comes to Phrolova's release. But it's long enough for them to put Cantarella on banners again if she ends up being a good teammate for Phrolova. Consider Phoebe. She came out in 2.1. It was very obvious that her confession state was going to be very good in the future, but at the time of her release, it just didn't really have any use cases. Zani came out in 2.3, and we had the big anniversary patch where every single character, barring Camellia and Shorekeeper because they had their reruns recently, had a rerun banner, and Phoebe was on the first half next to Zani. And I feel like if they didn't do that big rerun banner thing, where every single character got their rerun in a very short time span, then Phoebe most likely would have been the singular candidate. Or consider how Shangli Yao was literally free, and then only one patch passed until the dude got his rerun, because he just matched well with Yinlin, it made sense to run him then. So in that case, she could end up being a Havoc unit, and consider that Cantarella actually benefits from echo shenanigans within her own kit. Granted, said echo shenanigans are mostly for generating Cantarella's own concerto energy, but it's still something to think about. And I don't think we've had an Electro unit in quite a while, honestly, so I wouldn't actually rule that out. That could be a possibility, nor have we gotten the Electro negative status. And then I don't think we need to rule out Glacio either, because it's been quite a while since Carlotta came out. So the possibility is there, but I'm not particularly sure. In terms of weapon, I have no clue. It really could be anything. We're playing Wuthering Waves. They'll give characters one weapon, and then they'll use something entirely different, so who knows? My real guess, she's probably gonna use whatever, and then use that stick she's holding in combat. That is my guess. I have no clue, to be honest with you. In terms of my actual opinion on the character, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not really a big Phrolova fan. She's not for me. However, happy for you if you absolutely love her. I know this character is super duper hype for a lot of people. I don't really want her on my personal account. I know some friends that are getting her, so that's neat. But me personally, yeah, not really my thing. I'm saving for Cho Yuen. He is my absolute #1 thing that I'm saving for in Wuthering Waves right now. Absolutely cannot wait for that guy's release. But Phrolova here, objectively speaking, I do think she looks good. She's just not for me. She's been in the oven for quite a long time at this point, so I do think that Kuro is going to deliver in terms of her animation quality and everything else surrounding her. I'm sure she's going to be a very interesting character, and I will say, her story quest could be interesting. After all, she is technically on the bad guy's side. Well, that might not be true after I do the 2.4 story, but as of now, I believe she is on the bad guy's side. So we might actually end up getting some perspective from her as what it's like to be a bad guy, or her motives for being a bad guy, that sort of thing. In terms of what she's actually going to end up doing, so far, Kuro has really been pushing negative statuses, as that's been the main thing that Rinascita's been all about. So I wouldn't be surprised if she was tied to some sort of negative status. Now, would she be the DPS for said status, or would she end up being the support for it? Great question. If it's one that we haven't already got a negative status support for, then she could end up being the best installed support for it, but considering how hyped up she is, I wouldn't be surprised if Kuro would prefer to opt to make her a DPS instead. Also, it's not like every single Rinascita release has ended up related to negative statuses. After all, Carlotta, she has nothing to do with them. She's a traditional DPS. Brant Wuthering Waves, he has nothing to do with them. He's a traditional sub-DPS. Or well, he's more like a jack of all trades, but you get the idea. Now what I will say, Kuro Games absolutely jump-scared us last time by officially revealing Cardathia's animations before literally anybody could have seen it coming. Now, is Phrolova hype enough for that to happen? I don't really expect it this time. Now, who knows? Kuro could throw another curveball, just completely surprise us again, and end up showing her animations early. That could end up happening, but I don't expect it this time. I didn't expect it for Cardathia either, to be honest, but she was a Sentinel Resonator. She is like the most important class of character that you can be in the lore. I think literally the only thing that can be above that is probably Rover in the lore, and then actual freaking Sentinels. So yeah, those get all the attention, those get all the power scaling and all that good stuff. However, Phrolova is a part of the Frexodus, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong on this, but I do believe that is like the main evil group of the game. I mean, maybe saying evil group is a little bit shallow. It could be deeper than that, I'm just saying evil because that's the simplest way to go about it, but they're like the main antagonists of this game, right? So maybe she's important enough, especially considering that she is a character that's been in the oven for a very, very long time now. Everyone's been expecting her for ages, but I don't know. I don't really think she's important enough to get that type of attention, but I do still feel like she's a pretty big release, if anything, just because she's been hyped up for so long. She did also have a pretty significant role near the end of the 2.0 story, so she's definitely been present all throughout. I do expect her to be strong, but saying that is like basically saying nothing, because Wuthering Waves only makes good 5 stars. I think the only time they missed of a limited 5-star character's release was Roshia, and even Roshia is still usable at the very least. There's not really any horrible Wuthering Waves 5 stars where if you pull them, I'm like, oh my goodness, why would you do that? You've bricked your account. That just doesn't really happen. They're all pretty well balanced. Kuro Games does a good job of balancing. So, no matter what, I am 99% sure she's going to be good. If she is a negative status unit, I really hope she's not going to need like XYZ unit in order to function at her max potential. Though granted, I don't actually expect that to be the case, since we probably would have had a negative status support release by that point, or she could end up being the negative status support like I said. We'll just have to see. I think this is a character where we have very few clues as to what they're actually going to end up doing. And I say this because with most character releases, you can look at the element that Kuro reveals about a day or so later, look in-game, look at the set, and you can kind of get the gist. But I don't actually think that there's anything that hints towards what Phrolova's going to do. Like, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe that, officially speaking, we have no clue as to what she's gonna do. I'm definitely interested to see what Kuro cooks up in regards to her. I'm probably not going to be getting her on my own account, but I am interested to see what are they going to do with her animations, what exactly is she going to do, and where is she going to stand in the meta, considering that she's been such a long-awaited release. How about yourself? Are you going to be pulling for her? Let me know down below. I'd love to know. As always, I have a fun second channel where I just kind of yap about whatever in regards to gacha games. Head on over and check that out if that's something that you're interested in. Hopefully this video was able to tell you my opinions on Phrolova now that she's been revealed. This has been Juice, signing out, and regardless of whether you're pulling for her or saving, good luck on your saving or pulling.